Alright, get to Agria Valley, the weirdest of all the maps. I don't know why people don't play this map last, but they don't seem to. Excuse me. Right, so the last game was just a whole bag of weird. It had very little to recommend it. Steveasaurus, out-expanded his opponent, while in the early game Mel out-teched her opponent. So there was a failed there was a very successful push out from Steveasaurus in that it shut down the natural expand, and ultimately he did then capitalize on that because he was able to get the substantial economic advantage and turn that into an army advantage. But it did take a few whacks to actually produce a killing blow. As a top tip, don't push into siege tanks with marines. Don't. Either stim in and snipe those siege tanks or lift up in the medevacs and fly somewhere else. Do not funnel your marines in. Don't try and walk up a ramp with siege tanks behind it with marines. That is incredibly inefficient. So, maybe if you've got overwhelming numbers and it's only 2 siege tanks, sure. Against 5 siege tanks, no, it's too painful. And from Mel's point of view, don't move out and leave the one advantage you've got in the game, which is the better tech. Don't leave the better tech at home, you know what I mean? And just take a fight in which it's marine versus marine, but you're outnumbered and out-teched. And both of you, combat shield, please. Come on, how many times have I said that in these casts? Combat shield. If you're building marines, combat shield, always. Never not combat shield, always. Always. I don't know how else I can say it. I don't know what other sort of things I can possibly what am I even trying to say? Who knows? Why am I looking at this guy? Who knows? Right. So who cares? We've got that's funny. Can you? I mean, they're. I don't know. Maybe if you turn the graphics settings down, maybe they're hard to see. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's kind of funny. Camo. Really well camouflage burgers and stuff. What is this about? Steveasaurus, do you want to explain that to me? Do you want to tell me why the hell you're building 5 depots at once? At the 4-minute mark, it's just embarrassing, isn't it? So it's a classic 2-1-1 from Mel. It's straight up. It's a very sound build. Gets you a siege tank, gets you a medevac, gets you a second siege tank, gets you enough marines to push across the map and do some damage. Gets you a well-rounded army. Over here we have got the factory. It's been. Oh, he's quit the factory build. I can only assume that's a mistake. He's got a factory here half built, so he's paid for that, but it's on pause. So that's a bit weird. And there is a second factory. Again, there's got to be combat shield from both of you guys, and medevacs, Steveasaurus, please. Medevacs is what I want. So Mel is off to the earlier kind of army supply advantage. And with 3 siege tanks, again, we're in this position where if Mel A clicks across the map and takes the whole army, not just the marines, the whole army, she just wins. It's as simple as that. There's an army advantage, and the siege tanks will just obliterate the marines. But as it happens, it is Steveasaurus that's moving forwards. But I think that's just to secure this location. And I quite like it because you're on an elevated location here, and yeah, it can be abused by this high ground. So I also quite like something to deal with that. Chuck a worker in a medevac. Of course, you don't have a starport, so you can't do that. A worker in a medevac and maybe drop a turret up here, or maybe a couple of turrets, so that your opponent can't land medevacs up there and abuse that high ground. But Steveasaurus taking control of the middle of the map here. And again, is got a substantial economic advantage with the worker lead. And again, we find ourselves in this same position where Mel has the tech advantage, but Steveasaurus has the economic advantage and the macro advantage. He's got a lot of barracks spitting out units. That is a weird location for a bunker. And have we got the upgrade? Have we got the the Neo Steel, literally no one ever gets ever at any time in the history of StarCraft ever upgrade? It looks like we have. Okay. So that's a thing. This factory is still unfinished, miserable. What a thing to scan, you see, and why? Like, I'm gonna swear here. Why the? No, I can't be. No, I don't swear, obviously. I'm a teacher. So this high ground siege tank is going to obliterate absolutely everything. This looks pretty nasty, and it's just not a good idea. Trying to fight uphill is generally bad, and when there's a siege tank, it is worse. So let's just see what happened there. So army supply wise, it's all good. The siege tank's coming out. There's 2 siege tanks at home. The only way you break this is you move your siege tanks into position and you siege them up. The medevac is separated from the Marines. So these Marines do not have medevac support. Horrible. So they're taking an absolute pasting before the medevac actually gets there. Finally, they're coming up, but the siege tank is just pounding away. And I know it's only got 7 kills, but it has done so much more than that because it has taken so much health off all of these units with the splash damage. You know, it's only getting recognition for the kills that it's directly hit, but imagine how much quicker the other stuff is dying because it's taken splash damage. So, you know, had these tanks been with it, had the medevacs actually been healing the Marines, had they sieged up, this tank would have died. It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible. Oh dear, it makes it. It's just really hard to cast EMS games because like stuff just doesn't go the way it's supposed to. It's not how it's supposed to work. Steveasaurus, I wish you'd just kill the rocks because, like, surely you've got an army somewhere, have you? Not really. 32 supply. It's all over here. Yeah, so plenty of medevacs now and some Thors. Medevacs don't heal Thors, so you know, if you're building a mech army, you don't really need the medevacs. If you're building a marine army, you don't really. I don't know. I'm not sure about Thors. I would have siege tank marine. But anyway, it's all fine. I'd love to see some Marines loaded in to medevacs and flown somewhere. You know, landed in a base. Because look what's here to defend. Nothing. You know what I mean? You could just fly in there and wreck absolutely everything. I think Steveasaurus just wins here. I think he's just got the numbers. He's got the production. But it's going to be the siege tanks at the back are going to hold strong again. Well, you've got 70 army supply against 33. I wish you would just like unsiege these tanks and just go and wreck everything. There's so much undefended base. It's painful. This is the one place you don't want to attack, and it's the only place you have attacked. You know, look, you just walk up here, kill this. You just walk in here and kill this. Finally. Okay, so Steveasaurus is about to lose all his medevacs for free. Bye-bye. This Thor is going to die roughly for free. The Marines are coming in at the back. It's pretty mismanaged. But it looks like Steveasaurus, I don't know, is going to pick off the siege tanks finally. And army supply-wise, it is very even at present. But it's really, I don't know. Anybody's guess. Answers on a postcard. Who's going to win? We can't tell. Yeah, it's all a bit back and forth. So Steveasaurus has got a gazillion pounds in the bank and is building this over here. But, you know, Steve, what you need to be building, right, there's a reason you've got all that money in the bank. Look, you've got one factory. One. And okay, you've got like 5 or 6 racks, but look at the money. You could have 20 barracks you could have. Just spend the frickin' money, please. Just spend it. Oh man. Right. There's some guys hanging out over here. APM 0, just waiting for something. Look, Melly's broke is the problem here. And look, this is flown out, but all the SCVs are at home. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. Yeah. Mules. What? Oh God! Why did no? Surely this just ends it. I think this time. The number of fights on ramps, like nobody. There are other options, by the way, in StarCraft other than a just full frontal. I'm going to walk up the ramp and attack you. Medevacs are really good. It's just putting that out there. Feel free to like fly in and land already at the top of the ramp instead of walking your units through like a meat grinder. Ah! Got attacked by some sort of flying thing there. Anyway, yeah, this is surely the end. There's no army left for Mel, and again, we find ourselves in this position that it's GG. There was a moment in time, Mel, when all you had to do was click across the map and you'd won the game, but that's not what happened. So Steveasaurus does it, 2-0, GG.